Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Kate, and I'm a Programs Manager here at Enterprise Nation. For those of you attending a Lunch and Learn for the first time, Enterprise Nation is a vibrant community platform for startups and small businesses. Today, I'm pleased to introduce Lucy Werner, who is a global Adobe Express ambassador and the writer behind the top 50 business newsletter, Hype Yourself, on Substack. Today, we'll learn how to build a brand that will stand out in the most competitive of markets using Adobe Express tools. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please post them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them at the end of the session. Today's webinar will be recorded and we will send a follow-up email to you with the recording and further resources tomorrow. So without further ado, over to you, Lucy.
Thank you so much, Kate. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to the session today. This is Branding Basics. And I just want to kick off with this quote, which is, "A beautiful brand is amazing, but a meaningful one is better." And the reason I'm telling you this is because if you're a non-designer and you're a non-creative and you're stressing about building your brand, getting your brand assets together, it can sometimes feel really scary when you're thinking about choosing the colors and the fonts and everything else. So actually, before we get started on your branding basics, I just want to get you to think about your values, which will also serve as your guardrail. So whatever you're doing, whatever stage you're at on your brand toolkit journey, definitely have a note down of 3 to 5 brand values that you think could apply to you. And at the end of the session, I'll regroup with you for your light bulb moments, and we can feel free if you want to type it into the chat, but hold it for yourself what your 3 to 5 values are so that you can remember them. Now, a bit about me. I'm not going to give you my full story. Kate's obviously give you a lovely introduction. But the key thing is that I am not a designer, but I am teaching you about branding basics. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to show you how easy it is. Even if you are a non-designer, if you are starting out and you are on a budget, Adobe Express is such a great tool to use to build your brand. It's really, really easy. And I use it for all of my branding content. So the presentation today that you're looking at, these slides, I made them on the Adobe Express presentation. We're going to talk a little bit about today about your logos, how to create a logo. We're going to look at templates and brand kit, and I'm going to show you some of the ways that I use my brand kit. So even on this presentation right now, you're seeing me apply my own brand, but I'm going to give you ideas of how you can apply it. And then right at the end, I'm going to give you some other suggestions of things that you might not even thought about when it comes to applying your brand in real life in some fun, creative and promotional ways. The slides are going to be sent round, and any links to templates that I make, I'm going to show you how to do that, and you have a copy of that as well. We're also going to leave space at the end for questions, but as Kate mentioned, feel free to put questions in the chat as we go through, and then Kate's going to help me field those at the end. So we're going to kick off by looking at your logo. I'm just going to seamlessly move over here. For me, there are 2 ways to get started with a logo. So when you land on Adobe Express, if you're brand new, if you've never been there before, this is your starting screen, right? And the very first thing we can do is go to Explore Quick Actions. And here, there's so many really amazing things here for quick things. Actually, if you haven't got a profile picture with a nice on-brand background, this is a nice one to think about later here. But actually, I want to take you to the logo maker. Now, this is like the quickest, like off-the-cuff way that we're going to do it. So we're going to come over to logo maker here. And my imaginary brand that I'm creating today is going to be a sock brand called Meet the Sockers. So here we land on this page. I'm going to put Meet the Sockers as my play on my punny sock business that I'm creating. And obviously it's fashion. You can click here what your industry is. And then we could put a slogan. I think I'm going to say making I'm going to put fun and socksy. Why not? Going to go for all the sock puns. Okay, so now we can get a style. So I'm not really sort of in the elegant and organic realm of things. I'm probably more in the bold. Like you can see a few different examples like flashing up. So I'm going to click on bold because that's kind of like the fun way that we're going. And then we can look at a logo that we might want to customize. So I always do quite like a shape So I think I'm going to click on this one to customize, and then it immediately starts kind of putting it together here. So it's kind of got my strap line. I can play with the words. I can drag this around. I can move the colors around, but that instantly kind of gives us an avatar that we could start with. So what we can then do is click download. That's going to sit in our files that we can play with. And that kind of gives us an option one of a very, very quick logo. We can obviously play around with the colors as well. We can play around with the fonts. So there's all kind of quick and easy ways, literally just to get started. If you're literally, I'm starting completely from scratch and I need to just get something together, that's there. There's a second way that I like to think about creating a logo as well, and that's actually playing here. So on the Adobe Express front page, you have this section called templates. And I really love using the templates as an inspiration place, whether it's for a logo, whether it's for social media, anything to do with my branding basics. So as you can see here, there's lots of sort of styles. So you've got the popular templates just loading up here. The popular templates coming up. We've got layouts. We've got seasonal moments. There's trends, collaborations, all these kind of different ones that we can choose from. And here, look, we've even got a logo section here. So if we just click on this logo, we could remix from here. So there's some quite cute ones here that I could be playing with. But actually, I don't mean to sound Blue Peter for those of you who are from my generation and know what Blue Peter is. But I actually, if I see templates that I like, you can actually click on the heart. So that's a nice cute one that we like. I quite like this Pordy one actually. You put a heart on it, and that actually then goes into your favorites, which you can either go on for your stuff, or when we click, the heart that was showing you at the bottom, there was a purple banner saying view your favorites. I'm going to go to my stuff and click on my favorites here. And as you can see, I've collected a few templates from earlier that I quite liked. And I actually sort of decided I really like this one for a logo option. So if I click on this guy, I can customize this template. At the moment, it's obviously, when we're thinking about the logo, it's a little bit too small to have the socks in that way. So I'm going to just tweak it a little bit because it's got the socks graphic. I'm just going to pull that out a little bit bigger. I'm going to change my text to have my name, meet the sockers. And I kind of like the fact that it sort of looks like a smiley face with this text layout here. Now I don't have to have it coming round. I could, I'm playing like on the text areas here, but I do just like this as a style. Now, I'm just going to get off the text. I'm going to pull my socks up a bit so they're not eating into my letters too much. This is going to do for now. I might change it if I'm going to think about playing with my brand in a bit. But let's say for now, I was like, yeah, I'm happy with that. I need to share that with my team. And just click on this share button. And you get a couple of options here. So you could share it immediately to your social media, maybe with a few options to get people to vote on it. You could create a view only link, so you could then send it for other people to have a look at. But if you wanted to also make it a template that other people could remix, you can do it here, and you can actually create it as something that somebody else in your team or the wider public could do. But what we're going to do today, I'm just going to show, I want to do a view only link so that I can send that to you guys. I'm going to click on this. It's going to create a link for me. So it's going to be a shareable logo. And then immediately I can then cut and paste that link and I can give it to anyone. If you see here, they allow the others to use it. If I toggled that, then somebody else in my team could amend it. But for now, I don't want anyone to tweak it. I want it to stay as it is. So I'm going to copy that link and I'm just going to come straight into the chat. That link is there. You should all now be able to see that link for that logo. So that was 2 ways that we've looked at building the logos. The first way we did was going to quick actions, and the second was looking through a template and picking it. Now I want to go back to this templates and brand kit, because for me, this is a really nice and easy way to actually be able to apply your brand and use it moving forward. So we're going to go back over here to my stuff and into these favorites that I picked out earlier, because I decided for my Meet the Suckers fun brand that I wanted to have something quite colorful, quite bright, something that's, you know, fun and playful. Going back to that slide that I showed you right at the beginning of the values, if I'm thinking about myself as the Meet the Suckers brand, I'm probably fun and creative and playful. So I kind of pulled out these sort of orange colors here to look at, but I really actually like this. So I'm going to start with my brand toolkit from here. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because it doesn't even have to be a color palette or an image that's related to the brand that you want to create. You can just get a feel of something. So if you think, yeah, I like how this looks, I like the way that this is being composed, then there's going to be a good chance that your target audience is going to feel the same as that. So I'm pulling up this image here just to show that I like the color of that brand palette. Maybe I want to tweak it slightly, but I just think it's a really nice, fun, playful palette. And it's always good to have like one stronger color that you'd have as your primary and then something in contrast. So the bright orange is a good primary color. The kind of the lavender or the beigey white is a good contrast. So I'm actually going to go to brands here. You can see the ones, this is my suckers test that I made earlier for you. I want to just show you how quickly you could create your brand toolkit in Adobe Express just from a template like this. So we over here in brands, see this B with a plus, we're going to create a brand. So we're going to create Meet the Suckers today. Click on create here, and it's immediately going to show us what it is that we need. So we've got logos, colors, fonts. So I'm going to take my colors and I want to actually add from this template. So you click on add colors here, add the color palette. And when we click on here, the page theme is already here. If it wasn't, we could click on this color dropper and it's going to give us, the blotter is going to give us the color to choose from. But we actually don't need to do that because the colors are already here. So I'm going to click on this page theme, this purple. I think actually I want the orange as my primary color. So I'm going to click that first. Then as my alternate color, I'm going to take the beige. So I'm going to save that one. You put them in the kind of the color order that you like as the priority. So I want to have these sort of 3 contrasting ones. And then I'm going to add in the 2 yellows here as an option. And voila, we've immediately got our color palette. Now I'm like, yeah, do you know what? I actually really like this font, probably actually a bit more than the font that we had from the logo that we made. So I'm actually going to reverse apply that font. So if you click on it, you can see you've got your font here. One of the really nice things about Adobe fonts is if you actually do end up working with a branded designer down the line and they create a font for you, you can switch between Photoshop, InDesign, any of the other Adobe products, and the fonts will interchange directly. It's actually one of the reasons why I really like creating my presentations straight into Adobe Express, because I can immediately put my fonts and colors on, whereas historically when I've used PowerPoint or Google Slides, it's not being completely on brand. I can't always get the font match. But anyway, so we've got Copal STD is the font here. So when I go to my brand kit, I'm going to go to font, and then in the fonts, we're going to add the font in, and there it is, Copal. That's going to be my headline font. So that's the header one. And then just like the colors, where you have a primary and a secondary color, we want the same thing with our fonts. Like we want the contrast. It makes it much easier and accessible for people on the other side to have it broken up. So a chunkier kind of headline, and then something simpler with a a body copy is really good. We've already got the sample body copy here, and we can see that's Poppins. So back to my brand. We're going to add a secondary font here. Poppins is ready, or we can type it into the search bar, and that's going to be our body copy. Now, you can upload your logo, and obviously I made one earlier, but actually I want to make my logo fit on brand for this template that I'm showing you here. So I'm just going to go back to my stuff and to that very first image that we created. So if you remember, I actually downloaded that logo. I'm going to also work from it here. And then whilst this is loading, what I'm actually going to do to this is apply the brand to it to reverse fit the brand for my logo with the colors and everything that I like. So we've got the image here. I'm going to go to my brand. So I've got Meet the Soccers already there, and I'm just going to apply it and just try it a few different ways. I kind of want to get a nice contrast. Actually, I really like this yellow on the purple. It's a nice contrast. If we go like the orange on the purple, we can't see the colors easily, and it's not always accessible for people to be able to see that. So having a good color strong contrast works really well. So I really like that. I'm gonna now download this so it's saved. And look, it's already giving me the options here of other ways I can resize it, but we can do that later. And then for my logo, I'm just going to upload that logo from my downloads. Who's here? And now in my Meet the Soccers, we've got our logo, the colors, and the body text, and we're ready to go. So that's our templates and our brand kits. And now I kind of wanted to just talk to you a little bit about how we can apply that. So obviously on the templates that we went through, we mentioned that you can create the logo or remix your brand toolkit from the templates. But there's also, if we just go into the stock here, I've obviously saved a bunch of these, but you can go into templates and there's so many social media templates to choose from. So we can immediately then start remixing our brand. Here we go, it's just coming. So let's just say we were doing a seasonal moment. Maybe we are doing something for Easter, for example. We could click on an Easter template. We could start a new file from this. And very quickly and easily, we can then start to kind of put our application of our brand on here. I'm just going to wait for that to load. She's taking a bit of time. That's okay. Whilst that's loading, I'll actually just show you a few of the different templates that I've used. So this is actually a shareable link that I gave to Kate earlier, but I have a kind of bank of social media templates with my A brand. So on this top right, I actually use the YouTube thumbnail for my Substack newsletter because I like having a big, bold, chunky image up top. When I'm doing carousel posts, I always kind of have this back slide here that I can use. This green one here is one that I use on a ways to work with me post. So I encourage everybody, whether you're on Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn, to have these are the ways to work with me as a carousel post. So somebody landing on your page has that as your shop window. So you can actually remix from my own templates for your own social media if you want. And just kind of a reminder, so there's thousands of fonts and obviously you could choose your own color within Adobe. What I would say is a great font is almost better than a mediocre logo. And I think so many of us can get so stressed out on trying to create the perfect logo. But as you can see here, my logo is actually a font. So many brands, if you think like Chanel, British Airways, like all of these major high street brands all typically have a really strong font for a logo. So definitely explore playing with fonts as your logo to begin with. It's a great beginner hack. and look at what's in the Adobe stock from photos. So I'm a big fan of, look, there's our template coming up here now. I'm a big fan of going through the Adobe imagery. So you can actually go into media here. You've got photos and video. So again, if we're playing on my sock brand here, we can type in socks, see what generic content's coming up already in the photos and video and play with that. And you can just click heart to save ones that you think, yeah, do you know what, I can use that for my brand toolkit later. I can use that in my presentations, or I can use that in my social media. Maybe you're actually more of a service-based business. So then you could kind of look at maybe office imagery. That's going to pull you up with different kind of stock photography that you can use. Perhaps you're a writer, so you could put in a typewriter to have different typewriter imagery. Because one of the things, you know, that's great about having Express is then we can immediately apply, you know, our brand to different things. So even if I just take this image here, we can, in a few clicks, I could literally remove that background, change that typewriter into the color of my brand, and then have it with my font. So what starts off as a stock photo can easily get changed into my toolkit. The other thing is, we're not going to get there in today, but the generate image from the generative AI is also a really fun tool to play with. It's a really nice, like, fun prompts. And all of the Adobe generative AI images are actually trained on Adobe stock. It's not on people in the public domain. So there's nobody whose work's being stolen from the generative AI in Adobe. So you know that you're safe to kind of create, you know, you wouldn't be able to generate a Star Wars image, for example, because the generative AI in Adobe Express doesn't know that exists. But you could create anything that you like. So I quite often create like megaphones or newspaper imagery, so that I've created something bespoke if I can't find what it is that I need in the photos or the video. Okay, and last but not least, because I want to try and give you a little bit of time as well for questions, is the application. So I just wanted to show you how quickly it is, now that we've got our brand palette in there, how easy it is to apply your brand to different things. So the template tool is so useful. Perhaps you are creating a menu, so you can literally type in menu. It's gonna, in a second, come up. We've got the menu template here. Let's say I wasn't a sock brand, for example, and I was a restaurant brand, or perhaps I'm a sock brand doing a pop-up. You can start with this new file here. Once this loads up, I can quick and easily just apply the brand onto that. And that's the same, actually, when I started with this presentation today, it was actually from an old presentation I had on Google Slides that I uploaded as a PDF. And from those Google Slides, I can immediately apply my brand onto that, so that I can have all of my fonts, my colors, my templates on there. So this menu template is just uploading. But whether you were doing a book cover, there's all different ways. So look, we've got this template, and then I'm going to go to my brands here. It's just coming through. It's a bit of a, I'm demonstrating about 5 different things at once, so it's going slow. Let's close these ones. There we go. She's coming. She's coming. Right. Here's my Meet the Sockers brand. Here's the menu here. And I'm just going to go apply brand. Click of a button. I've got the brand on there. And I can actually click it again to try different versions of it. But there you go. In the space of 20 minutes, we've created a brand, and now we can easily apply it to all the different templates and brochures in there. And last but not least, I wanted to show you one of the favorite ways that I have used it, which is actually a QR code. So I was going to be at the Enterprise Nation Startup Show wearing a dress made out of my PR tip cards. And when I had the cards pulled off my dress, I wanted to actually stick a QR code with a promo code for my newsletter onto that card. And I just want to show you how easy it is to do that. So again, if we go to the Express front page, and you can literally just go to explore quick actions, but it's got it here earlier because I was playing with it. You can go to generate QR code. I've got my link here, so that's for my 30% off. Put it in there. And immediately I've got a QR code that I can print off to put on stickers. I can change colors if I want it in a different color to make it feel more on brand, like I did a red one today. You can then just download it and then pop it straight on to your presentation. So really easy, applicable ways to bring your brand to life for somebody who is a branding beginner like me. Final stop. Remember, right at the beginning, I asked you to tell me your values to make sure it gives you your guardrails for building your brand. So if you haven't thought about it yet, make sure you remember to do that. This is actually an Adobe stock photo that I've played around with the colors, just to remind you that you can find fun imagery that's on brand for you and pop it into your presentations. And this is where you can find me if you want to gather with me at the end of the session. But let's move on to some questions, or if you have any light bulb moments that you would like to share. And again, this is actually an Adobe stock video image that I've popped into the presentation today. Kate, what have I missed?
No worries. Thank you so much, Lucy. There's so much to learn. So I'm really excited to get that intro. And even I've learned some of the tools. The remixing is such a great way to apply your brand. So thank you so much for covering that. Before we go on to announce the competition, we do have a little bit of time for probably one question. So I'll pick out the most frequent questions. So this one is, once you've created your templates using the brand kits and once they're built, who actually owns it? Is it us or Adobe?
No, so you would own that. And then you can obviously like download that. It will have all the color codes on there. So you can actually follow like a template to create your own mini brand toolkit that you could print off afterwards. That if you did have a team member or a freelancer, they would have copies of that as well. But you can also invite people in your team to be part of the brand toolkit. So actually, if I just quickly come over here, you can see I'm part of an Adobe brand through my ambassadorship. So I don't own it, but I have access to using the brand that they've created. So here are my assets that I can remix from, the templates and the body copy there. So when you're sharing your branding with other people can either have access to edit or they can have access just to use it, but you own it as the person who's created the brand.
Lovely. That sounds great. Thank you. So apologies to anyone if we didn't reach your question. Lucy, you had so much packed in, which is great. Everyone learned so much and everyone's saying thank you to you, actually. So thank you again. But before we end the session, I just wanted to touch on the competition. So I'm excited to announce that we are launching a monthly Adobe Brand Builder competition. You can head over to the competition link in the chat for your chance to win. Every month, you can use Adobe Express to create content for your brand for a chance to win £1,000 in a marketing strategy mentorship call with one of our expert advisors within the Enterprise Nation network. You can enter as many times as you like, and you can enter each monthly competition. So each month, there's a different challenge with a different theme. And once you've completed all 5 challenges, you'll have everything you need for your business's next marketing campaign. This month, the challenge is to create a logo in Adobe Express using the handy features that Lucy covered earlier in the session today. So make sure when I send the recording around tomorrow, you watch it again. And simply go to the competition page, sign up to Adobe Express using the link in the form, create your logo, and then share the link to your logo in the competition form for a chance to win. That's all for today. So thank you for today's webinar. Thank you, Lucy. It was amazing. Everyone learned so much. And I'll be sharing the recording and further resources in a follow-up email tomorrow. So stay tuned there. Thanks again, Lucy.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.